You might be wondering what the role of curly braces and whitespace is in C. Let's examine that real quickly. Let's copy rotation13.c to whitespace.c and edit that. Okay, first I want to talk about the curly braces. The reason there are curly braces are used in C is to group a bunch of statements into one block. And basically a block can be thought of as just a set of statements, one big statement. Okay. If, however, we really only have one statement, we don't need to surround it with curly braces. So, for example, put car here is only one statement, so we don't need the curly braces with that. Similarly with the put car statement here. And in fact, that's what I already have in this one. I could have put curly braces around it, but I don't have curly braces. Now let's look at the while statement. While all of this, then do this. Well, this is if else, if else. That's actually one statement also. I can get rid of the curly braces there. So let's compile that and see what happens. We're using the rot13.c code, so let's just try this on the code itself again, or whitespace, and that works fine. Okay, let's get rid of some of these comments also. Now let's talk about whitespace. The C compiler doesn't even really deal with whitespace at all. It ignores it. It uses parentheses and the operators and semicolons to parse everything that you type. So you can get rid of whitespace. Whoops, bring that back. Compile again. Still working. Let's get even more white space. Yep, still working. Let's see how we're doing so far. Still working. Okay, we've done a little bit too much here. We need to make sure that there's a space after the else. And probably here also. We have the keywords else and if separated. Yep. Okay. We can get rid of some more. And that still works. Okay, so what you've learned from this is that whitespace is merely something for the human to use to format the code. Okay, and same thing with a lot of cases, same thing with curly brackets. The use of curly brackets is optional if you only have single statements. And the use of whitespace is something that varies from person to person. Various people format their code in various ways, and people will get into a lot of arguments about which way is the correct way. Find a way that looks best for you and stick with something consistent. That's my advice on that. But Other than that, like I say, the compiler doesn't care about whitespace really hardly at all. You just have to make sure that your keywords, like else and if, are separated by a space so that it can parse that properly. But just about everything else is separated with the use of the semicolons, the curly brackets, the parentheses, the operators, and the functions that it recognizes. Okay, yeah, and the only other thing I can say is that we can't get rid of this space because include statements have to occur at the beginning of a line. And we can't do that one either. Main has to occur at the beginning of a line into main. That's about the smallest we can make this program. Why would we do this? I don't know. It looks gnarly, and it may impress a lot of friends, but it's probably not the most readable thing to give to people. Okay, let's end that lecture.